As president of this church, I am happy to report that the reconstruction process of our building is proceeding at a smooth pace. It should be completed in another week. As most of you know, our former minister, Dave Owen, is now in prison after confessing to having our church building destroyed. David Park, who Owen hired to do the actual deed, agreed to provide evidence against Owen and has also been sentenced. Before the church was burnt down, there was some serious discussion among us about if our joining the Unitarian Universalist Association was purely a reaction to Dave Owen's acts of abuse and bigotry. I would say that Owen's abuse and bigotry never would have happened if our church been UU from the start. Owen used occult-like techniques to seduce and control people, with the Bible as his tool. We never should have tolerated that. And I don't ever want to see that happen again. And now Reverend Benton will begin her sermon.
Thank you, Dr. Drake. My story today is called Rabbit Looks for God by Kelly Weissman S. Bruce Jackson. One day, a rabbit set out from the woods, carrying a question to all the other creatures that it met. The rabbit came first to a butterfly fluttering in an open field, and asked, "Friend butterfly, what can you tell me about the thing called God?" The butterfly thought for a moment, and said, "God is the guiding wind that blows me from this field to that one and points me to where the weather is warm and I can help the flowers bloom by flying from one to another." The rabbit thanked the butterfly and continued on its journey. Coming to a horse who was grazing at the other end of the field, the rabbit hopped up and asked, "Friend horse, what can you tell me about the thing called God?" The horse looked at the rabbit, still chewing away at the sweet grass, and said, "God is the ground that holds me up, gives folks an open field to walk and run against and all this lovely grass to eat." The rabbit thanked the horse and hopped further onward. A little while later, it came to a slow-running stream, and peeking over the bank, the rabbit saw a fish. The rabbit dipped its mouth into the water to ask friend fish, "What can you tell me about the thing called God?" Then the rabbit raised its head back up and put one ear into the water to listen for the answer. The fish replied, "God is water I swim in, it surrounds me all the time, and gives me something to breathe and move through. It's something that everyone needs to live." The rabbit thanked the fish, bounded off again, and very soon after almost ran right into a tree. Craning its head upwards to look towards the very topmost branches, the rabbit asked, "Friend tree, what can you tell me about the thing called God?" The tree answered slowly, but without hesitating, "God is the sun that feeds me and all of my neighbors and family. I spend all of my days reaching upwards towards it, and encouraging the shorter trees to do the same." The rabbit thanked the tree, and, seeing that it was getting late in the day, set off to go back home for the night. As the rabbit was approaching its den, its neighbor, the squirrel, called out from nearby, "Friend rabbit, after your day of asking the same question over and over, what can you tell me about the thing called God?" The rabbit thought for a very long time, and then said, "I can tell you that the butterfly cares deeply for the flowers, the horse wants everyone to have open fields to roam on, the fish knows everyone needs water to live, and the tree hopes its children will grow as tall as it has grown." And then the rabbit went down into its burrow, and slept for the night. Dave Owen presented you with a vision of God as an iron-fisted tyrant, because that was what he himself was. His God was a reflection of himself. I believe that any real God would bear little resemblance to anything we know. The ones who wrote the various parts of the Bible only knew of God as being a little better than themselves. And that vision limited man's spiritual growth, because once the believers in God made themselves a little better, they saw no need to grow any more. But they were not anywhere near what they should have been. If you compare yourselves with others and think you are good just because you are like your neighbors, you deceive yourself. That's why we in the South tolerated and even defended slavery for so long that we ended up fighting a civil war over it. Instead of seeing the common humanity in all of us, we regressed into tribalist impulses to turn on each other. People reject God because of the primitive image of God in the Bible, not because theism itself is evil. We can read the Bible to learn from it about ancient history and what was believed in the past, but using it as a guidebook on how to live today is like using the repair manual for a Model T to guide you in repairing a 2015 Ford Fiesta. We need a manual for a 2015 Ford Fiesta to fix that car. And we need to update our religion to live in this present day, whether we believe in a God or not. It's possible that the people who wrote the books in the Bible never imagined people would be reading their works 2,000 years later and around the world. Even as a Unitarian Universalist, I wonder how we can avoid falling into the kind of cult-like attitudes that dominated this church when it was Baptist. What are the warning signs? Here is one way to avoid self-deception. Imagine you are defending your religion. You use arguments to promote its credibility. Now, would you tolerate someone of a different religion using those same exact arguments? If so, your claim to your religion being exclusively true is discredited. If not, you are a hypocrite. Either way, religious apologetics is unacceptable. Assuming and insisting that any religion is objectively true is indeed self-deception. We must look to the reality we all live in for truth, not ancient books or religious institutions that are man-made. Not even the Unitarian Universalist Association itself? No, because the UUA is not an authoritarian institution. Our leaders are not all-powerful, and we are allowed to openly question their rules and decisions to ensure they are fair and honest. We are far more of a democracy than any other religion. Even as a minister, I am not the leader of this church. I was hired by it and I can be fired by it if they choose to.
Reporting for duty. Wow! I wasn't expecting so many customers so soon.
Most of these people are not customers of the restaurant, but members of a church who came here for a service. But I'm sure some of them want to eat here.
Hello! Would you ladies like to place an order?
Yes. We want a large pepperoni pizza and 2 glasses of Pepsi. And let me say how cute you look. I don't think I've ever seen you before.
Thanks. I'm Michael Jefferson, and I and my mother just moved to this town from Dallas. Let me take your order to the cooks, and you may take a table.
Carrie, I know that look. You are smitten with him, aren't you? Well, why not? Doesn't he look handsome to you? Yes, but he is not my type. But if you want to date him in the future, I don't mind. For today, you are my girlfriend. Oh, of course. Mother Lucy, how old is Michael? I don't think I've seen him at school, at least not yet. He is 19, so he is already out of high school. Why? Oh, just wondering. Do you think he is too old for me? As compared to Buck? No, I think Michael would certainly be more age-appropriate for you. But he just started work at the restaurant and he just moved to this town. I don't think he would be eager to jump into a romance with a stranger. You must make friends with him first. I understand. When we first moved here, Debbie had already been here for many years and she helped me get used to life in this town. Maybe I can do the same for Michael. I just need opportunities to meet and get to know him. So, what if you hired me on the weekends for part-time work at the Tuscany Tavern? Do you need another waitress or cook? Carrie, as long as you do the actual work needed and don't just flirt with Michael, I will hire you. You will have to follow the same standards and rules as everyone else, okay? Of course. And thank you.